No matter how good you are at arguing things out, there are certain statements that have lived the test of time and cannot be debated or argued with. And one of such statements is the fact that all that glitters may not be gold. Now, this is a very profound fact in today's true crime story, and it's coming from my own country, Ghana, here in West Africa. And as it stands now, as at the time of putting out this video, the FBI is trending on X, or formerly Twitter, here in Ghana, because the FBI have touched base. And what did they do? I'm sure you are wondering. Well, as it stands now, reports indicate that the FBI have recently arrested 3 Ghanaian nationals in connection with a $100 million fraud scheme, which involves business email compromise and romance scams. Now, before I delve deeper, please, I know you support us by watching our content, and I'm grateful, but our analytics show us that most of the viewers who watch us have actually not subscribed. Kindly help us by just hitting the subscribe button and going to the comment section and just telling us you've subscribed. I'll respond and thank you for that. Now to the case at hand. Oftentimes here in Ghana, especially for about 5 years coming, we have seen instances where people have sprung up from nowhere, seemingly financially free and living in abundance and crazy wealth. Some of them, you can't trace their wealth to any particular business or anything for that matter. They just have the money and they are spending the money and they are living a life of affluence. And strangely enough, most people just glorify them. We've seen several instances of this in some of the cases on my channel. As for example, some of the cases coming from Nigeria, where some people were equally just flaunting wealth without any legitimate source of that wealth being determined. They come to parties and occasions and just throw money around. Through money, flaunt their wealth, and they are giving titles like chief, chairman, and the society just worships them. Now, I am no rich person, but I'm hustling to get there one day. But what I have learned, the little wisdom I've gathered in my few years on this earth, tells me that be content with what you have and just work harder to get what you want, but do it legitimately, because all that glitters may not necessarily be gold. You need to learn to bide your time and put in the work. But some way, somehow, some people are not ready to go down that route, and they believe that they need to cut corners. And what really disappoints me is situations where the society itself just picks up and starts worshiping these people without necessarily bothering to find out if these people are actually genuine. And there are instances you would find that some people in the society even feel like they are worthless or useless because they are comparing themselves to some of these people who seem to have just made it in life overnight. So, I digress. Now to the case at hand. So, the FBI have allegedly made the arrest of these 3 Ghanaians. And who are these 3 Ghanaians? Well, the suspects, identified as Isaac Kofi Oduro, popularly known as Kofi Boots. Agony is the second person. Yeah, his nickname is Agony. And then a third accomplice were detained on the 13th of June 2025 in a joint operation between Interpol and the US Federal Bureau of Investigation. But let me backtrack a bit and give you the actual names of these people, because it is very important that we get to know these things. Now, as it stands now, the Kofi Boat himself is someone who is very popular in Accra. That's the capital of Ghana. He's seen all over. He's seen with musicians. He's seen at huge events, He's seen as a big guy who drives around in luxurious vehicles. And he's seen as somebody who has made it in Ghana and who is very wealthy. But some people are already saying he's guilty. And I think it's important we understand the fact that in the eyes of the law, this guy is actually innocent until he's proven guilty. So all these things that are going on, he's yet to be convicted and found guilty. So it's very important we put that out there. But to the details of the case. So this is the modus operandi that these guys are alleged to be perpetrating. Now, it's alleged that they are a group, or you can call them a syndicate. So they allegedly impersonate company officials through spoofed email accounts to trick victims into authorizing wire money transfers. So typical of this is they would create fictitious companies. Well, all these are allegations. So they'll create fictitious companies and then name the companies with names that are very similar to existing successful companies. And they will create email addresses for these companies they've created and make the email addresses look very similar to that of the existing successful company. So it's almost as though they are trying to clone everything about an existing successful company, and then they will start impersonating officials of that successful company by sending spoofed email accounts to try and trick victims into authorizing wire transfers, thinking they came from the actual successful company's officials. Yeah. So you could see instances where maybe the only difference between the fake email they are alleged to be sending and the original might be a T. So maybe, for example, if it's about, let's just say, if it's about, say, don't send at yahoo.com or .send at yahoo.com, the .send, that the DOTSEND, people who perpetrate this may create an email, and instead of it showing as DOTSEND, you may rather see DOTTSEND at yahoo.com. And if you, the recipient of the mail, you don't pay attention to details, you might not notice. And you may think it is a valid email coming from a superior authorizing you to transfer money, and you transfer. This has been done against several people, and several people are falling victim. And it's not just this that they are alleged to be doing. They are also alleged to be running romance scams and targeting vulnerable individuals and adults through email, text, and online dating platforms. Now, according to investigations, the indictment identifies at least one business and 8 individuals as confirmed victims of this scheme, which prosecutors from the United States are actually saying has led to losses of at least 100 million US dollars. Now, the suspects are facing extradition to the United States, with proceedings expected to continue in the coming weeks as Ghanaian authorities are apparently alleged to be cooperating with their US counterparts. Now, this is not the first time such a thing is happening. You may recall, and I think I have this case on my channel, that just over a year ago, one of the very popular celebrities in Ghana, and a musician for that matter, who once went on TV to talk about the fact that she works so hard to achieve for herself, actually just finished serving a 1-year term in prison in the United States, also after being found guilty of participating in romance fraud. And her name is Hajia for real. So hers is what really struck a chord with the fact that some celebrities seemingly are getting into this type of thing. So you may see them flaunting wealth around, but don't be fooled, it's not that legitimate. So She was picked up and she did a 1 year stint and she was released. It's alleged that she actually took a plea, she took a deal, and that's how come she got a lighter sentence. But some people are also indicating that maybe she snitched because she was released just some few weeks ago. And soon after her release, a couple of guys are now being picked up by the FBI in Ghana. Aside this case I'm bringing with regards to the Kofi Boat guy and two other people being arrested with him, there is actually a previous one where another seemingly big chairman was arrested just in May 2025. And his name was what? Dada Joe Remix. And he is a Ghanaian citizen who was also indicted in the District of Arizona for running a romance and inheritance scam from 2013 to 2023. Now, he was arrested in Ghana on the 28th of May 2025 and is currently awaiting transfer to the USA. So, people are actually insinuating that maybe Mona or Hajia for real may have snitched as part of her plea deal, and now there's a list the FBI are coming after, and that's what is accounting for the arrest of Kofi Boat and Dada Joe Remix and several others. You know, even aside that, there've been an arrest of 4 other people again, including a Nigerian lady called Tech Buddy, and they are all charged with similar things. And when you look at how some of these guys who are suspected of doing these things are living their lives, you know, if you are not really grounded in your philosophies and principles, you may feel that you are left behind. You may feel worthless. Because some of these guys are being glorified and even being hailed. And the funny aspect of this particular case is one of the top dancehall artists in Ghana, Shatta Wale, was actually seen prior to this arrest being very close with Kofi Boat, who has now been arrested. And if you know Shatta Wale, you know he flaunts his wealth a lot. And it's been alleged that even in one of his songs in 2016, he was actually praising the Kofi Boat guy as being a big guy. So people are insinuating maybe the FBI should look into him after all, as maybe a possible accessory or whatever. And he has come out on social media to lambast such people. But I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI decide to extend their search, because for me, I think that when these things come up, they will literally look at everybody around you. That is how come the numbers seem to increase. Because even with the people who are arrested with Kofi Boat, one of them not long ago allegedly held a very lavish naming ceremony for his kid. Monies were being thrown around and, you know, celebrities were there. Fake things don't last. The truth stands the test of time. So I'm not surprised when I see these things. I just get sad that most people seem to be blown away by some of the things that are not gotten legitimately, only to later find out that they were following someone who was just into illicit stuff and making money. But then again, there's also a school of thought where some people are saying that why at all would any institution, for that matter, want to know where they got their money from? Because at the time they were broke and poor and in poverty, no institution bothered to come to them to find out where their poverty came from. I think that is on the lighter side. But on a more serious note, if you are watching this, put in the grind. Grind legitimately. Hustle right and hustle well. Look, I'm telling you this for a fact. You can cut corners, you can run scams and all, and you may even think you are smarter, and it might even seem you are ahead of the law. But one day, the law will always catch up with you. So why not do it right and enjoy your peace and the wealth that will come out of your legitimate pursuit of business? That is my 2 cents on this. As it stands now, I'm still following. When there are updates, I definitely will bring it to you. But the issue of Shatta Wale is still a question mark, honestly, because those that are insinuating are also making a factual observation that when you look at Hajia for real, the female socialite who was arrested for romance scam in Ghana and just finished doing a 1-year stint in the US, was really close with Shatta Wale. So when she was arrested, some people were also pointing fingers at Shatta Wale. And then Kofi Boat has now been arrested, and he is also very close to Shatta Wale. So it's like he's now the common denominator. That does not necessarily mean he's guilty. But hey, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised the FBI will look into him. I'll bring you updates as and when they are due, but you know what to do. Just subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.